Hello everyone, my name's Cole and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at two Spleef arenas that I've built in Minecraft. I used to run a server for myself and a group of people at work, and like most servers we had an arena. If you don't know what a Spleef arena is, essentially it's a game where two players or a handful of players will fight on a platform to be the last person standing. The object is to knock the player into the pit of lava that's underneath. So you can typically either punch them off or hit them off with snowballs or something like that, or most commonly use a shovel to dig the ground out from underneath of them. And as I said, it's the last person standing. We're going to look at two arenas here, as I mentioned. This arena was built way back in Minecraft 1.2, well before there was command blocks. So we'll take a look at that, and there's a lot of redstone, and it's quite messy. But we'll get into that in just a couple seconds here. And then we'll look over at this arena, which was built much later after command blocks were in the game for a long time. And we'll just kind of compare the two builds and what I do like about them and what I don't like about them. I used to do a lot of building using WorldEdit with Bucket on a Bucket server. And so this build was actually built using that plugin and a couple of others. It didn't take very long to build it all, about 5 or 6 hours over one day. I spent a day and a part of an evening building it. So this is the inside of the arena. I wanted it to be very bright and vibrant. This was installed on a survival server, and although I did use Bucket to build it, we played with it using survival. So, and we didn't use any of the Bucket style plugins to regenerate the floor because we wanted to keep it as vanilla of an experience as we possibly could. So with this arena, there's two sides. You have the blue side and the gold side. It's a two-player game. You could fit 4 players in the game, but really, when we played with it, it was only best just to have 2, because you need a couple people one person to run the game up in the command center there, and then 2 people to play. It wasn't a very big server, about 10 or so people, but we had a good time. So on both sides of the arena here, we have dressing rooms, the blue team dressing room and the gold team dressing room. The dressing rooms are pretty much identical. There's an ender chest where people can drop their stuff in, 2 ender chests just to even out the room, and this chest here would have been full of iron shovels. With our survival server, we weren't so worried about people coming in and just stealing the resources and such, as it was a private server, just 10 of us playing close-knit, so worrying about somebody taking the resources really wasn't a problem at all. So up here, this is the game control center. In here, there used to be a snow golem where we would use to harvest the snowballs to make the ground floor. At somewhere along the line, the game backup got corrupt, and I had to restore an older version of this of the Spleef arena, and that part was missing, and then there was a whole bunch of changes that had come to the game at that period of time, and I just never rebuilt this into it. But this room had, it had lots of chests and a piston mechanism that pushed the snow golem off into a block where you could just stand there with a shovel and harvest the snowballs. So up here's the game control, and we'll go check out the redstone in just a couple minutes. It's very basic redstone, but there's arena lighting. And as you can see, it all kind of goes on. I wanted this to kind of be like an arena, like you see in the movies. You flip the switch and the lights just kind of come all on in series. And that's what it does. And they also go off in series as well, which I think is kind of neat. That's mainly a product of me not understanding how to do redstone very well back then, but it did achieve an effect that I liked. So there's 2 game modes, an easy mode and a hard mode. An easy mode is just, there's nothing going on. It does a count. When you start the game, it does a simple countdown, and then starts. As I mentioned, this was built before command blocks were a thing, but once command blocks came out, I believe that was in 1.4, I came back and added in just basic say commands, so the players knew when the round, or when the match was about to start. But when you turn on hard mode, you may see it, but down in the arena here, on both sides, there are 4 dispensers, and those dispensers shoot fireballs. And so those are fire charges, rather. So that made the game a little bit easier. We didn't play with that a whole lot. That was really, and it was really intense and really difficult to play with. But it was a lot of fun. Normally with the arena here, these brick walls wouldn't be here. But as you can see, I've got some wood structures out back that I don't want to catch on fire. But I will show you, though, how the fireballs integrate in part of the game. But anyway, you turn on the difficulty here. So we'll set it down to hard mode. As I mentioned, we get the say command that says hard. That was added in, as I mentioned, later. This was an area where we had the fireballs to restock the dispensers. And then here's just a simple start and stop. So we'll hit start. And you'll notice the piston door is open, and the players can go out, and the fireballs would shoot across the playfield. So we'll stop that. As I mentioned, it was a really, really intense game. You'll notice that there are nether brick fences right along here. There used to be wooden fences, like right up here, but as you can tell, they caught on fire a whole lot, so I just replaced them. So now we'll go in and we'll check out the redstone, and as I mentioned, this is not good redstone. It was done well before I kind of knew what I was doing, but it's here. And that's with my flat building world that I have here. I only keep structures that I either really like or that are important to me. I can look and see how I progressed as a builder. And this is one of those ones that I look back on now and go, oy vey, what was I thinking? But anyway, here's it is. So the other side is pretty much identical as far as the lighting goes. This is just from up here. This is the back of the the game control, and this is just the lighting that just kind of goes down with wool, and it goes to this bank of lights, and then down here. This controls the bottom bank of lights along the seats, and then there's a bank of lights here on both sides in the actual arena portion. It's quite messy, and that's about all I'm going to say about that. And the other side has this setup here is exactly the same as what it is on the other side, because WorldEdit does have a command that allows you to copy and paste and mirror and all of that stuff. So that's what I did. As I mentioned, this was built primarily. It was built to be used in a survival world, and so I added in ladder access so that you can go and do. Get around to wherever you needed to go. There used to be lights and such down in here, as I mentioned, but we had a world corruption, and when I copied and pasted it, this build into my flat building world here, the light system down here, it was gone with the game corruption, and I just never added it back because there's no mob spawning in this world. So up over here, this is just the game mode select. It's just a command block here that just says game mode easy. And then if it's a hard game mode, it follows this line down here. Command block here says the game mode is hard. And then this redstone line feeds over to here. Which goes to a timing system. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't know a lot about redstone when I built this, and the way that I built a pulsing system was that I would send the redstone line through this block, because this piston would be retracted. Oh wait, did I do this on the other line? Sorry, this is very confusing. Okay, no, I see what I've done here. Yes, okay, so the redstone signal would travel through this block, and it would turn this piston on. This needs to be reset. It's not in the right place. This piston's bad. But because it shouldn't be. It's not being powered right now, but it is being quasi-powered. I don't know. It's messy. Yeah, yes, it's being diagonally powered. Either way, so as I mentioned, really messy. But essentially what would happen is this would be retracted. When the signal would come in through here, it would go through the block, through this piston right here, and this would be on a timer. And then this would power the block, push it forward, break the connection, and it would just keep pulsing based on that delay. And then from there, I did just set up random delays in here, and so they would dispense the fireballs at a random spot. So, as I mentioned, there were much, even at the time, there was much more efficient ways to do clocks than this, but I didn't know. This blue line here is the main game start line. It goes all the way up from over here. There's a lever on the other side there, and then this goes down to here, down this line, and I put in a button here so you can test it. But this is just an analog Oh, perfect. Okay, right, because that's a button, not a lever. Right. So the line would just come down here. These command blocks were always here, but then these note blocks were always here. And then when the command blocks came in, I just put in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this used to actually just be a straight shoot. And then when I added in the command blocks, I had to rearrange the note blocks to give me more space to do what I needed to do. So that line just kind of comes up over here. It splits off onto both sides. Then it comes over here. This gets toggled. This redstone line here gets toggled on if the match mode is hard. And then when this signals on, so when the match start lever is pulled, this piston retracts and it allows the dispensers to fire the fire charges. But this line just comes up over here and then feeds up into here and then unpowers the pistons and allows the players to shoot out. And it's the same thing on the other side. So, as I mentioned, we got a lot of use out of this arena, and it was a great bit of fun, but there are just much, even if for the time, there was much more efficient ways to have a Spleef arena. So we're going to go take a bit more of a modern, or we're going to go take a look at a bit more modern Spleef arena that I built, and frankly, one that actually looks a lot nicer. This one, I really like the dome. I was really on a big dome thing back when I was using WorldEdit because it's very easy just to create a sphere. But really, the whole building itself is a lot of bricks, and there's not a whole lot of variation. The main floor was all cobble here, ugly looking glowstone on the side. It really just was a messy build. I liked it for the time, but now that I've done a lot more building, it's an eyesore, but I keep it just because I like it. It was my first Spleef arena that I ever built, and so I kept it. So this is the one that's a bit more modern. This one came out well after command blocks were a thing, and I built this when we migrated to a new server, a new vanilla server. We still did have Bucket, but I didn't use it a whole lot, and obviously I don't use it a whole lot right now. We'll go and look at the redstone and such for it as well, but this arena has much more features. When I built this one, I wanted it to look like a castle, and in our server that we had, it kind of sat up on a bit of a hill, and there's rivers going around it, and it was very well placed. My flat building world is, it's flat. It's what it is. I just copy in the builds and such that I like, and I just build things in here. And then when I put them in a survival world, I really make sure that I put them in a proper setting. So there was hills and trees, and it looked much better than where it even looks like right here right now. But I wanted it to have the appearance of a new building, and so I didn't use any of the cracked bricks or anything like that. So I'll give you a bird's eye view up at the arena as well. This arena is a 4-player arena. We had about 15 to 20 people playing on this server when I was still running it. So we had the opportunity to have a larger Spleef arena. Now I don't know if this trick still works, but this is just carpet over top of signs, and then mobs they'll try to walk over it, or sorry, they'll think it's a pit and then won't try to walk over it. So this is the inside of the arena. As I mentioned, it's 4 players. There are 4 dressing rooms as well, and this one uses command blocks heavily. There was an opportunity to make this much more automated than what it is, but there wasn't a guarantee that there was going to be a whole lot of people on the server when people wanted to play. So to have a game master and 2 players, that may not have always been possible. So in each arena, there's a spot where you would pick up your shovels, and then an ender chest. I know I could have put in command blocks that automatically gave the person a shovel and teleported them into the arena, but I just didn't. That's not how we talked about it, and that's not how we wanted to use the server. We wanted to keep it kind of having that manual survival feel to it. So this allows you to set your spawn here. Instead of using a bed, we wanted it to be clean. We didn't want to have to wait. We didn't want to have to wait for night. We wanted to just be able to push a button and do it. So you drop off all your stuff in an ender chest or a regular chest or what have you. Pick up your shovel, set your spawn, and then this would teleport you to the playing field. And this here would also spawn the platform. And we'll take this out here, I'll show you this a little bit in a few minutes here. But this will spawn the platform. Essentially, it just spawns a redstone block at these relative coordinates. And then I'll show you where those relative coordinates are. But these are just set the spawn and teleport, a teleport command. We'll close that back up. All 4 spots are exactly the same. Oh, not that one. I want this one. and then this teleports you into the arena. And as I mentioned with the last arena, there's lava here as well. So there's the four teams. They all spawn into the same exact spot on the arena, like relative. So purple player will spawn in here, the red player will spawn in right here, and it's all exactly the same distance from the wall and the distance from all the other players. And so I'll just set the platform again. All right, so we get a little say command that says that the platform's ready, and then it spawns in right here. So I'll go up and we'll look at the control center, and then we'll look at the redstone behind it as well. All right, so up here, this is spawn platform. This one removes the platform. Basically what it does a fill command, or replace command. So I believe it's fill. It does a command that replaces the blocks in a certain relative area with air, and then a certain relative area with snow to spawn the platform. With the old arena, we used to have to go in and manually place the snow in by hand. So it's much more convenient to hit the spawn platform button, and really encourage people to play with the arena more than what they did on the first variation of the server. With this one, and we had beacons at this period of time, and so I added in two for one for jump boost. Let's get those. All right, there they go. They get the green beam and the red beam that pops up. And then speed boost as well, just to add some different variation to the game. If you've ever played Spleef before, if you change variables such as how high you jump and how fast you go, it can really make the game interesting, and it's quite a lot of fun. So we use color beams here for this. There's nothing else up in the control area. Oh, I'm sorry, there is something else. We have the game start. This just does the same note block chimes, and the countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, one of the things I would like to have done that wasn't available when I built this arena is to have the note block sounds play in certain coordinates. So right now, this just plays note blocks down in the redstone area, which I'll show you. But I would like for it to play the note blocks in the center of this arena so the players can hear it better. There we go. Just to make it a bit better of experience for the players so they can hear it better. But that wasn't an option when I built the arena. I did some modifications when there were some changes to command blocks, but I didn't. That's one of the changes I did not make. So the redstone access is up over here, down in this little section here. Now, these two blocks of command blocks here, when this arena was built, there wasn't that fill. I think it's fill. Let me just double check on that. Yes, fill. So there wasn't the fill command. If you wanted to place blocks, you can only use one command block would replace one block. And so Seth Bling created a filter for MC Edit that would allow you to highlight an area and then allow you to push a button, and then it would spawn in that area. And so that's what this one here spawns the platform of snow, and then this one up here spawns essentially the platform of air. So you could add the platform or remove the platform. I'm not sure when it happened, but at some point in time, the fill command was added, and so you could just do it with just the standard fill command to set a region, and then Minecraft or Dinnerbone rather. Replace right here, so the value for error used to be 0, and so if you wanted to, so the value for blocks has changed. It changed away from a number system and went to a naming system. So if you try to run these commands, nothing actually happens. The redstone blocks will spawn in and remove, but the actual blocks in the arena don't change at all. So we had to these two banks had to be replaced with. They get replaced just with one command block, which is great. But I didn't remove these ones. I wanted the players to be able to look in and just see all of the redstone and such in here. Just gets kind of neat to look at. But anyway, that's that. This bank right down here, this is the game start. So the way that this works is up along here in the game center control. When you pull the lever or push the button, what this does is this spawns a redstone block in relative coordinates. And so this one right here spawns it down along the purple line over here, which sends the redstone signal along. There's the say blocks here that says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then the command blocks will play along. what happens is the redstone block spawns in right here, and then a signal goes out over here, which deletes this block after it's been created. And the same thing happens with all the other lines that I have up here as well. So we'll look here. So this one's a spawn the platform. So this one here, this is the fill command that spawns the coordinates between this block and this block, the relative coordinates, and it's relative to this command block. This one's the thing that says the platform's ready. And what happens here in this block right here in this position, when the players in their dressing room hit spawn platform, it spawns a redstone block right here. That sends a signal through here, runs this command, spawns the platform. This repeater pulls it out over here, and then this one sets this block here back to air, so that players can run it over and over again. They don't have to come back in here and reset the system. This is the same type of setup. This is one that spawns the air in this area and all the way over to this area with the same say command, say platform removed. And then right here, these ones are a bit more complicated, but these are for jump boost. And so you either have jump boost on or jump boost off. So what this does, if you're turning on, that spawns a redstone block, which essentially will turn the jump boost on. And what it does in 2 spots, it spawns an iron block right here. So it has the jump boost on this side, and then on the far kitty corner over there, it'll spawn the iron block in, which completes the beacon base and allows the beam to go up. So that jump boost and speed boost is exactly the same way. And the system works all the same way. To start the system, it spawns on a redstone block, then deletes it. To turn it off, it spawns in an air block and then deletes the redstone block. And that's how I achieved the game logic for it. So I've just taken us back outside here so we can have one last look over the building before we sign off here. So as I mentioned before, this building was used in a survival world. It is feasible that you could build it in a survival world, obviously without the command blocks. It's hard. It's easy to gather the resources because it's really just cobblestone. Cobblestone smelted down to make your smooth stone and make your bricks and your slabs and all that stuff. The sphere would be the most difficult part of the build. You could do it, but it's very hard without using some sort of external program or editor to make the sphere. I built the sphere using WorldEdit, just did the command to populate a hollow sphere, and then just cut off a certain portion of it, and then moved it in on top of the building. And built it that way. So with this arena, whenever I'm building, I always build the most important part of the structure first, and then work out from there. So I obviously started with the arena, the playing field, and then built out from there. I knew that I wanted to have 4 teams, so I needed to have a more square design as opposed to the rectangular design that we saw in this arena. I started from there, made sure that it was an even playing field, symmetrical. A lot of people like to build in odd numbers, and this is odd right here, and this is even. I prefer to build in an even number for a lot of reasons. I won't go into them right now, but I'm very specific when it comes to building my buildings, whether it's going to be odd or even, and I typically side on the side of even. It really just makes things like building windows and doors, well, not necessarily doors, but large doors and roofs and such, much easier and much more convenient to build, and aesthetically they just look better. Doorways are the one problem with having an odd build, because if you have an odd build, you can only put one door on it unless you're going to make it much wider. So I always tend to err on the side of even, and typically that's how my builds go. Anyway, I hope you enjoy what you see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.